Hello everybody, welcome to the season player ratings video. A lot of you have messaged me about this one. I thought I'd wait and have a little bit of a build up, but in this video I'm going to go through the player ratings for the season and see who comes in, let's say the top 10. You all who have been watching this year have had your input, and I think the beauty of the player ratings this year was just that I got to start the conversation, and this year a lot of you had your input and some scores were altered when necessary, because the reality is I'm watching the game and my emotions take over in certain aspects. Everyone's got different biases, everyone looks at different things, people might have played the game in a different position. So the beauty of that is it seems like we have a real wholesome top 10 anyway. And look, I think there's going to be a lot that's wrong about this for sure, but it's just I guess it's just discussion. And I guess for those of you who've never watched the player ratings video, first of all, welcome. What we did this year was we looked at each player every week, and we looked at their role, their standing in the team, and gave them a score out of 10. So, and that's hard to be consistent with throughout the year, because you want to reward certain blokes for certain things and whatnot. But yeah, let's talk about some notables. I think what I've done is you'll see there's a link in the description below to the actual table. You'll see every single round, who scored what in which round. You'll see their average rating for the season, and this will help with the player ratings, all the player season review videos that will come up as the next series on the channel. So I think some interesting ones there. I think McGovern had 49 votes for the year, and he's one where I'm a little mindful of. I think it's right to say that he was disappointing this year, but having said that, I know Teague a lot of the time this year spoke about how he does important things for the team and he plays a role, and so who knows, on best and fairest night maybe that'll come to the table, and he might feature heavily in the votes. But I think we got that one right. Fisher was an interesting one. He actually averaged, he and Kennedy, I should say, they both averaged around about 7 a game. So Fisher was 6.9, Kennedy was 7.1. Fisher played a few more games than Kennedy, but that was a very high average. When you look at Jacob Weitering, who was the highest average player with 7.9, anything in the sevens was really excellent. So that was an interesting one there. Let's just get right into it. There's a few ties, so I might just start from the very bottom. I believe I've done this. I'll start from the top. I believe I've done this right. Jacob Weitering was the out-and-out winner, and no need to hold off who the winner is. You can shut up the video now and move on. But yeah, he finished on 134 votes, and he played every single game this year, and he was outstanding. He had one game under par, which was a par, or a pass mark was a 5. He had one game this year where he didn't reach that. That was in round 5 against the Saints, where, let me tell you, not many of them did. So that was one there. He had a couple of 5s in round 18 and in round 12, but apart from that, it was 8s and it was 9s, and there were a few 10s in there. Second was Sam Walsh. Now, he came home hot, but for the start of the season, where he was maybe adjusting to a new role, I think he would have pipped Jacob in the end. I think if there were maybe 1 or 2 or 3 more games left, he would have got him, because he steamrolled home. But he had a couple of 4s as well, one in round 5, one in round 9. He had let's look at his last 4 ratings. He got a 9 in the last round, an 8 in round 17, and then a 10 in 16 and 15. So he had some exceptional moments and exceptional games this year, and he's rightly placed right behind Jacob Weitering. Third was a guy that's just not going to surprise anyone, Ed Curnow. He finished on 113 votes. He just, you will see with the ratings, you get rewarded if you play every game. You'll see Cripps in a moment. He maybe didn't have the greatest season in terms of a rating standpoint, but when you miss a game, you fall behind. So you look at guys like Jack Martin, who missed out on the top 5 because he missed a few games, and it just hurts. So it's good, this system. It rewards those who play every game. And Ed Curnow was one of those, and he averaged 6.6 on the year. That might be a little stiff. Maybe he deserves some more votes here and there, and maybe I got sucked into the game that he has, where it's not flashy, but it does the job. So anyway, deservedly third place. Now fourth, there was a tie, and I think this is a really good situation. It was Doherty and Cripps who both tied on 110. Now, Doherty was interesting. I know there was a bit of criticism coming his way towards the end of the year, and fair enough as well. I started the year and I was pretty consistent with it, with Doherty all throughout the year, in saying that he's missed 2 years out. No one's expecting him to be absolutely outstanding the way he was in 2017. And look, this is a huge result for us. He played all bar one game. All bar one game. And that's a phenomenal result for him. I think people would have been happy with 14, 15 games for him, easing him into it. Then when you talk about a condensed fixture as well, his ability to back up and play this season after 2 years out, I think it's fantastic, and he sets himself up for a phenomenal 2021. So I look forward to that. Cripps, look, as we all know, he probably didn't play with the same prolific energy that he has in years past, but the reality is he played every game. He battled through, and in a scoring system like this, you get rewarded. So well done to Cripper. There's our, I don't know, if they're tied for fourth, does the next person become the sixth? I think that's how it works. But anyway, the next on the list is Will Setterfield. Great reward for a good season, and a guy who, and this is a similar situation to Brodie Kemp, got young guys coming off an ACL. You got to give him that year in the system, which was Will's year last year. We got to give him that year. He's a little inconsistent, trying to find a role for him. 2021, he looked like a much improved player. I think he might be our most improved player for the season, if not definitely. But 108 points, 6.8 average throughout the year. He had a few poor games early in the season. These first 2 rounds were no good. But after that, he figured it out. A few nines in there, 3 or 4 of them for the season. And I was really happy with Will. Lockie Plowman was next. So I believe he's 7th. I think that's how it works. He had 107 for the year. He started a little slowly, first few rounds, and then there was a patch here between rounds 6 and 8 where he was phenomenal. He had 2 9s and a 10, and he really is a guy who I learnt a lot from last year, because I learnt the value of his role based on how he finished in the best and fairest. And that didn't carry over to this year. Just because he finished third, I have to give him extra points. But it taught me that I wasn't looking at the whole picture of what he does for the team. So he finishes there. Cade Simpson is next. He cracks the top 10. He had 106 votes, an average of 6.2. And, he really just worked his way into the season and just stayed consistent. He played a role. He found a way to find his minimum standard every game. And, we're going to miss him. And it's interesting that he finishes in the top 10. Jonesy was next. Actually, Jonesy and Simo were tied for 106. So there you go. I'm worried I haven't given Jones enough credit. I think I might have fallen into the trap, because I don't know. If I had to sort of do it off the cuff, I would have thought he's been maybe our 5th or 6th best player. But when I went back and tallied the scores and all of that, he finishes where he finishes here. But regardless, I feel like anywhere in the top 10, any name can be anywhere. And as I said, we all look at the games differently. So Jones was good. He had a more consistent year this year. Obviously, 2019, he missed a chunk of it because he was concussed, and he had some injuries and some off-field things happened to him. So it was good to get him for the majority of the year, and I look forward to him building off that for next year. The next one is Murph. He is another one who played every game this season. Yeah, he played every game this season, and that's what happens when you play every game. You get rewarded in the long run with the votes. He had an average of 6.2. I thought his last few games were not his best. He had the outstanding game against, I believe it was Gold Coast this year, but he wasn't poor, but he was just sort of there now. I guess he's at that point where he's now just filling a role, and he's got to make sure he's doing that next season for us. And we want to enjoy the tail end of his career now. We don't know how long it's going to last for. So yeah, I think that is the top 10. If not, there might be one more name. I'll just reel off a few more. Jack Noons on 102. Cass Bolt 101. He started pretty strongly and then really fell away. I mean, look at his first 4 weeks. He was fantastic. 9-4, 9-10. And unfortunately, he just wasn't able to reach those heights consistently for the remainder of the year. So that was Levi's year. Jack Martin, 97. As I said, you look at his average, 6.9. So that puts him right up there in that top 4 or 5 bracket. But he's missed 3 games, and that hurts ultimately. That hurts your ranking. But we know how good of a year he had when he played. Gibbo, he had a pretty good year. He had 97. Willow, 95. This is another one that was really important for us guys because he played all but 2 games. So obviously Nick Newman played in the first 2 rounds and then Willow was back, and he's another one that missed 2 years. So I was a little more lenient on his grading because, you know, we know where he was coming from and we know his personal situation. And that's why I do the ratings like that, because every individual player has a backstory to where they are today with their body or you know, their experience and all of that. So Samo was next, 86. Not his best year. He had a few good games sort of towards the middle part of the year, and I think he figured it out a little bit towards the end as well. So a little bit of hope there for Samo, and the rest you guys can look through it. But I would like to announce that Jacob Weitering has won the Blue Abroad Player Ratings Medal for the year, and a deserved winner. We know how good of a year he had. He made the All-Australian squad. Didn't quite make the team, which was disappointing for a lot of us to see, but more so, we were probably disappointed for him. But, you know, he's going to be in that conversation for a long time. And, you know, the reality is winning, he makes selectors lenient. You know, if we were in Collingwood's position on the ladder and Collingwood were in ours, I'm sure he would have got the nod, Weitering. So it is what it is. A fantastic year in terms of the player ratings as it was. I've really enjoyed it. There are some things I will add to next year's player ratings as well. And this will be something we'll do every year. So I look forward to that. Thanks to everyone for your help. And I do have to thank 2 more people who really made this possible, because if you've been watching the videos for a while, you know that I didn't really keep score of the first 4 rounds. I didn't save them in a document. And Sean Costello and his son actually went back and watched the first 4 player ratings videos and wrote down the scores that I gave. So that's a lot of time to put into that. So if it wasn't for the 2 of them, I don't know if I would have kept the table going for the rest of the year. So thank you to you guys. Have a great afternoon, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this video. And we look forward now to the season review for each player. That'll be a series that'll come up on the channel now, mixed with the trade period, draft period videos as well. So have a good one and go the Mighty Blues.